theological education today, of course, is very different from, say, 30 years ago. The world has changed, South Africa has changed, the challenges are new and come at us in different ways. Some of the challenges are challenges that we've had 30 years ago that we battled with, but we did not totally overcome them. And now when they come back, they're much more intense. The world is much more open to our global realities. And so the things that we are facing here are things that people are facing across the world. The question of poverty and impoverishment and wealth and the gap between the rich and the poor is a South African problem facing the church, but it is also a global problem. It's everywhere. And so this imbalance and this deep-seated inequalities that cause great divisions in our societies, they cause great tensions in our society. They raise, and with the level of poverty, I mean, as we speak here, 1 billion people every day across the world go to bed at night without having had a piece of bread to eat. There are more children that are being used as child soldiers in Africa than ever before. There are wars as we speak in 41 countries going on in the world at the moment. There is the overpowering, overwhelming reality of the power of the United States as an empire, which the impact we feel of across the world, whether you live in Africa somewhere, or in Pakistan, or Afghanistan, or Iraq, or in Venezuela, it doesn't really matter. And so the question is, how do we as a church respond to these realities? How does that impact our worship, our testimony, and how does it impact the way in which we train our ministers? So in a very real sense, you have to train a minister to understand that the people in the pew that they preach to every day face all of these challenges. And it's very localized. The township is the township where I work. The town is the town where I work. The city is the city where I work. But all of these problems that my people sitting in the church are facing, those are problems that are global problems. Because they are global problems, they are interconnected, and because they are interconnected, the forces behind those problems are also interconnected. They are much more difficult to fight than just say the owner of one factory that's not paying my people right. Because now my people are not being paid right, and they have a hard time living because they work in a mine. The mine is in South Africa, but the mine owners sit in Canada or in the United States or in China or in Germany. And so all of these things, we have to prepare our people to know that the problems we face is global. So for us, the message from the Bible that says that God's concern is for us and God's concern is for the world, that has to be central. We need to understand much better how to use the new media possibilities, and we have to make time to let our preachers understand the message cannot just go out on Sunday and Monday. You have to find ways of bringing the message in different ways to different people, especially to young people. So we have to identify the challenges for the church, identify the challenges for theological education, and ask very, very fundamental questions. How does one preach the message of the Bible? So the message of the Bible is one of liberation, it's one of justice, it's one of judgment upon injustice, it's one of peace, it's one of humanity, it's one of making people understand that we are all God's children. In this city, it's no longer just our people, it's lots of other people. How do we live with them? How do we live with people of other religions? How do we create respect for them? How do we understand where are the things that we believe in that is good for the world? Where do these things come together? And our theological training has to understand that. We have to understand that if the Bible is still our book, that which we believe to be the Word of God given for us, how do we interpret the message of the Bible to the world today facing change? How do we speak about inclusiveness coming from the Bible? How do we speak justice, understanding the Bible? How do we speak of embrace of people who are not like us, who don't think like us, who don't look like us, who are not sexually oriented the way that we are? Those are all fundamental challenges, but they all speak to our understanding of God, to our understanding of the love of God, our understanding of the mercy and the grace of God, our understanding of how God challenges us to make all of that real. So theological training is key. We must not make the mistake of thinking we are training theologians while we are in the classroom, but they have to be pastors while they are in the congregation, and once they are out of the theological school, they don't have to worry about theology anymore. That's a huge mistake. There is no dichotomy between how we battle and wrestle academically with all of these great issues and challenges, and how we make sure that our people, because my job, your job, is to work for the edification of the church, Paul says. And so what I must do, everything that I do, whatever I learn theologically, and that's why I must learn whatever I can. I must be like a sponge. I must take my theological studies seriously. I must take study of the Bible. How do I interpret the Bible? Because the Bible is a wonderful book, but the Bible is also a very dangerous book. They have used the Bible to justify slavery. They have used the Bible to justify apartheid. They have used the Bible to justify racism. They have used the Bible to justify the oppression and subjugation of women. They're using the Bible to exclude people who are sexually different. The Bible can be a poisonous book. It can make us filled with hatred and bitterness, make us feel superior, make us feel to exclude anybody that we don't like. But that's not the Bible. So how do we interpret the Bible differently from those people who want to use the Bible as a weapon of mass destruction? Can the Bible still be, as we have discovered in our struggle, this book with this liberating force, the most revolutionary book on the face of the earth, the book that will give you strength and inspiration when everything else fails? That's what we have when we go on the pulpit. We have a book that can change the world, it can change people's lives, it can transform people's lives, but only when I understand the Bible, when I wrestle with the Bible. What does the text actually say? That's your theological work. Then I take that theological work and I bring it to the pulpit, and to bring it to my pastoral work and my discussions with my people, and I say to them, this is what this message means for you in your particular situation. And we mustn't be afraid, but the healing power, the liberating power of the Bible is immense. I have seen that in my own life, and it's also necessary for theology students to know the Bible is not just a book that I study. The Bible is a book that I embrace. I read it every day. I can't live without it. It teaches me. The love of God that comes through the message of the Bible is something that I know I cannot live without. If you don't have that anchor, you can be as clever as you like, you will not be feeding God's people. If you do not have that anchor, you can have studied as much as you like, but your words will be like stones that the people cannot eat, and we must give them bread. So theological students must embrace that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. They must embrace the wonderful opportunity to understand the Bible better, to understand the world better, and they must be ready to go out there and challenge the forces of evil. Theology is a great hope for the world if we understand it right and if we do it for the right reasons.